Hello, welcome to Memory and Engagement Opportunity for Wellness. I am your host, Michelle Hobb, a speech language pathologist and the leader for the Meadowlark Special Programs. Thank you for joining me today. It's been a while since I've seen you, so I'm glad that you're tuning back in. The purpose of this opportunity is to work on engaging and attending. When we do these two things, it helps us to stay focused and to work on making connections with others and to keep our brain active. We're also going to be working on reconnecting since, as I said, it's been a little while since I've been with you. We'll review a couple of things we've talked about in the past and refresh on some new things that we've touched on but will enhance today. So, how have you been doing with why did I come in this room? So this has been something that we've talked about a couple of different sessions, and we have this in many conversations with others. Why did I come in here? You go from one place to another and you have no idea what you're doing there. So in previous sessions, we've talked about a strategy of paying extra attention, repeating what it is that you need to do when you get in there, and in other words, talking to yourself. So how have you done over these last several weeks with talking to yourself, thinking about what it is you need to do, saying it aloud, and going to the next space and keep talking to yourself until you've actually completed the task? I know that I've been doing it a lot, and even more so than normal, just because it's been so chaotic. But it definitely does help to use this strategy. The other thing I wanted to check up on with you is how have you been doing with creating your music playlist? We watched a video a few weeks ago about music and memory. And within that video, you learned a few things about music and the benefits of that. And one of those is that it helps with recall of memories. So we want to work on creating playlists or different types of music, whether it's specific songs or genres of music, but things that bring joy, things that bring back memories, so that you have that list of music that you can rely on when you are either feeling stressed, you need to decompress, or you just want to feel good, or maybe you just want to sing out loud. So you have a playlist that includes all those songs that you love to sing. That leads right into another benefit of music, which is that it improves mood and or can provide comfort. Both of those things, recall of memories and improving mood or bringing comfort, can help you when it's time for you to want to focus as well. So if you know that you need to sit down and pay the bills, tuning into some music that helps you feel focused, helps you feel in the mood and comforted, secure, that type of a playlist is going to help you when it's time to actually do the bill payment. So how have you been doing? If you haven't done much with this, get back on the horse and get started. If you have been, start listening to some of those different playlists that you've done or you've created and try them out in different settings. So I always like to come up with something to discuss that is kind of current topics. And this one now is National Red Wine Day, which is August 28th. I know, I've been gone for 3 weeks and here I come back and the first thing we do is talk about red wine. Well, here's the reason. It's important for us to think about some things in our daily lives and again, kind of current timeline that we can have some effect over, things that we can control to help our mind and body. So the question is, does red wine benefit the heart and brain? We see lots of headlines a lot of times about the benefits of this or the benefits of that to help our brain, to help our body, whatever it might be. But we really need to be able to be good evaluators of what we're seeing out there. So I pulled a little bit of information from the American Heart Association. And really what it's telling us is that what they've found and what they are what their recommendation is that there is not a direct cause and effect relationship between red wine and how it affects the heart and or the brain, more so the heart in this regards. And so, yes, there are some causal things, but is it a true cause and effect relationship? So that's the main thing there. Then the other thing that we have to be careful about is that moderation is the key. So, as with anything, too much of a good thing can lead to other consequences that are not so good. So again, if you do enjoy red wine, go ahead and celebrate with your glass of red wine on August the 28th. But keep in mind that moderation is the key. The risk of overindulging in red wine, even if you think that you are gaining other health benefits, those other consequences can cause more harm than good. The other thing we know is that the American Heart Association and other entities as well recommend that a healthy diet, regular exercise, and avoiding tobacco can help our heart more than what we could gain from the red wine that is kind of being taunted as the end all be all to overall health for you. So again, I am not a dietitian, a nutritionist. What I am trying to do here is to just give you some overall better life living education. So go out there and find some more information yourself, but know that moderation is the key, and be careful about the resources that you're finding to make sure that they're truly valid studies. So this leads into our activity for today. We're going to work on sequencing with details. So you might say, why would I need to work on this? The goal for this is to really get us to work on small, specific steps. This can help us with word finding even. So if we think about breaking things down into small sequences, specific steps, it can help our word finding as well as help our ability to be able to relay information to others. So we're going to look at some small specific steps. We're also going to be talking about describing with sensory words. So just like with other parts of language and memory, if we use sensory words, then it allows our brain to recall better. It forms that connection that really builds the memory. So we'll give some examples here. The other thing with sequencing is that it assists with visualization. So and again, this leads directly into memory. So if I can visualize the steps that I take to wash my hair, for example, if I visualize those steps and I think about those steps with sensory words, my ability to be able to remember and or to tell someone else those steps is going to be much greater. So let's have a little example here. I'm going to play a video on how to select a watermelon. So the narrator speaks a little bit fast, but there are there's text, that will help you also to be able to follow and remember what it is. So pay attention to obviously the video, but also to these specific things, the small specific steps the sensory words, and how those words assist you with visualization.
Six.
All right. So, like I said, I know that went really quickly, but I'm hoping that you were able to pick up on most of the things and feel pretty good about that. So, how did they do with sequencing the details within that video? Did they give small, specific steps for each action? Did they describe with sensory words each of the actions? And did what they tell you assist with your visualization? So, not only did their words resonate in a visualization, but did their pictures and the text also help you with visualization? So, moving on to the next part of our memory task, we're going to practice our recall. So, let's see how we did. So, recall the sequenced steps of how to pick a watermelon based off of the video that we just watched. So, take just a couple seconds and try to jot down or say out loud some, if not all, of those steps that we just watched. All right, let's see how you did. So the first thing was lift a few. So the heavier the watermelon, the better. So obviously they're giving us an action, they're telling us what that first thing is, but then again, they're also giving us a nice sensory word of heavier. So if we're comparing, we can look and feel for that, sorry, not look, but feel for the heavier of the two. Okay, so lift a few. After that, we're going to look for a field spot on one side of the watermelon. Again, if you really think about that field spot, you may not have any reference for that point, but because they gave us such good visuals in the pictures, the photographs of the different watermelons, that really helped to firm up that definition of field spot within your description here. And number 3 is to look at the color and the sheen. So if we remember back on that, they said the color, the darker, the better, and the less shiny, the better as well. So again, giving us those specific things, it's the specific color, the specific sheen, and helping us to see and visualize what those are. What was the fourth one? Okay, right. So looking at the stem. So if there is not a stem, the better the watermelon should be. And number 5 was cradling the melon and slapping it. So if we have vibrations, then it's a better watermelon. So again, here, thinking about visualizing it, visualizing that cradle of the watermelon, and then feeling that sensory component of what those vibrations would feel like if it was a good watermelon. Okay, so even though the sequencing of this isn't something that we necessarily have to do exactly in this order, it also shows us that when we are able to sequence from the lifting of a few of them for weight and then moving on to vision, and finally it's met all of our vision needs, and then we can actually feel for those vibrations. So it's working on both touch and feel. Sorry, touch and feel is the same thing. So it's working on touch and visual sight as well. So how did you do with recalling those sequenced steps? Was it easy, or did it make it harder because it was a little bit quicker? But when you look back on it, were you able to try to pull up what those pictures looked like in the video to help you with that sequence and recall? As always, we talk about a walk down memory lane. Writing in your journal or your log is a very important strategy to help you with recall. You can use it every day to talk about something that has happened or many things that have happened throughout that day. And then challenge yourself the next day to try to remember the things that happened in the previous day, or even go back a couple days or even a week trying to remember what occurred in those days. Then you can look at your journal and check yourself. So it's a great way to work on some short-term memory. In this case, we're going to be working a little bit more on some reminiscing. So I'd like for you to write about any memory that you might have about watermelons. So we're sticking within that realm here of the theme of watermelons. And you can jot down anything you want, whether it's picking your own watermelons, growing them, maybe it's going to the store with your grandma or grandpa, whatever it might be, or sitting out at a park and spitting the watermelon seeds, having a contest for that. But write about that. And again, remember to think about those sensory words. How did you feel? What was the weather like? Who was with you? What sounds did you hear? Try to add in as many of those components into your writing as possible. The other thing I wanted to just touch on is that this also allows you to practice gratitude. Gratitude is good for the soul. It's also good for the mind. So as you're writing in your journal each day, you can also jot down what you're grateful for. And you can in turn relay that to the watermelons and the stories that you're writing about that, those memories that you have of being with others during the time of growing or eating watermelons. Moving right along, we're going to think about exercising your brain. The brain loves to be challenged. So each week, I want you to think about showing your brain some love. And how I want you to challenge that brain this week is to call someone and share a recipe or how to build something with that individual. What you're working on here, again, are those sequential steps. breaking it down every little step. So, recipe or how to build something. Call somebody, which is going to help you stay connected, and then also working on your sequencing skills and your communication skills. So until next time, practice physical distancing, wear your mask, stay connected with others. Good example is in your brain challenge by calling somebody and sharing a recipe or how to build, and be well. It's good to be back with you, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Have a great rest of the week. Bye.